Welcome. Let's settle in and open the pages of one of Japan's most ancient and sacred texts, the Kojiki, the record of ancient matters. Inside, we're going to uncover a story that isn't just a story. It's the very bedrock of a nation's mythology. It's a sweeping drama of family, betrayal, and cosmic balance, a tale that all begins with one very dangerous question. You see, this is the very heart of the matter. What happens when the raw, untamed power of the tempest declares war on the serene, life-giving brilliance of the sun? This isn't just a family feud. This is a conflict between fundamental forces of nature, a battle that threatens to shatter the heavens and plunge the entire world into an endless, terrifying night. So let's meet the two deities at the center of this cosmic stage. They are brother and sister, both born in an act of ultimate purification. Their father, the great god Izanagi, had just returned from a horrifying journey into the land of the dead, and as he cleansed himself, these two magnificent beings sprang into existence. From a single origin, two gods who could not possibly be more different. On one side, we have Amaterasu Omikami, the great august goddess who shines in the sky. She is light itself. She reigns over the high heavenly plane, a perfect realm of meticulously tended rice paddies, sacred weaving halls, and divine order. And then, there is her younger brother, Susanoo no Mikoto. He is the storm. He is the raging sea. He is pure, untamed, primal emotion. He is all power and passion, with none of his sister's patience or restraint. And this is the fundamental conflict that's about to tear the universe apart. Order versus chaos, light versus the storm. The fuse is lit when their father, tired of Susanoo's constant weeping and raging, banishes him from the heavens. But before he leaves, Susanoo insists on saying goodbye to his sister. Amaterasu, knowing her brother's nature, is deeply suspicious. After a tense ritual to prove his good intentions, Susanoo feels he's won the encounter. And his idea of a victory party? It's to unleash absolute havoc upon his sister's pristine, orderly world. And look at how he does it. These aren't random acts of violence. They are calculated insults. First, he goes for the very symbol of her rule, agriculture and civilization. He smashes the boundaries of her sacred rice paddies, filling the irrigation canals with mud until they're useless. Then, he commits an act of unimaginable impurity. In the very hall where the gods celebrate the first fruits of the harvest, a place of ultimate sanctity, he defecates. But the final outrage, the one that breaks everything, that comes when he skins a heavenly horse and hurls its bloody hide through the roof of the sacred weaving hall, right where Amaterasu and her maidens are working. The shock is so great, so horrifying, that one of her attendants dies on the spot. And that is it. For Amaterasu, this is a violation beyond all measure. A death in her sacred space. The filthiness, the desecration, the personal, vicious nature of the attack from her own brother, it's too much to bear. Consumed by a grief and a rage so profound it could shatter stars, she does the unthinkable. She runs. She flees to the heavenly rock cave, the Yamata-no-Orochi, and seals the massive stone entrance from within. And you have to understand, when the sun goddess hides, so does the sun. Her retreat isn't just a personal act of sorrow, it triggers a universal catastrophe. The effect is instant, and it is absolute. Total darkness falls across the high heavenly plane and across the world of humanity. The crops wither. The distinction between day and night vanishes. Without the sun's clarifying light, the world dissolves into chaos. The voices of malevolent spirits rise like a cacophony, and all manner of wicked, monstrous events begin to unfold in the gloom. Existence itself is coming undone. So now, the 800 myriad gods of heaven are faced with a truly impossible problem. They can't just break down the door. That would be an even greater offense. They have to convince her to come out. But how do you reason with the sun itself? How do you coax light back into a world that has been plunged into darkness by grief? The god of wisdom, Omikane, calls a great assembly, and they devise a plan. It's not a plan of force, but of ritual, psychology, and, well, divine comedy. First, they gather the roosters whose very nature it is to call the dawn. They forge a perfect, shining mirror and craft strings of beautiful, curved jewels. They take a sacred tree and adorn it with these offerings right at the mouth of the cave. And for the final piece, the master stroke, they turn to a Meno Uzume, the goddess of the dawn and revelry, and they ask her to dance. And oh, what a performance she gives! She turns over a tub, jumps on top of it, and begins to stomp until it thunders like a drum. She goes into a trance, exposing her body, dancing with a wild, bawdy, hilarious abandon. It is so utterly ridiculous, so shockingly joyful in the face of all this darkness, that the combined host of heaven, they erupt in laughter. A great, rolling, thunderous wave of laughter that shakes the very pillars of the sky. Now, inside the cave, Amaterasu hears this. Laughter! How can there be laughter when the universe is dark because of her sorrow? Her curiosity gets the better of her. She pushes the great stone door open just a crack and asks what's going on. And the gods deliver this genius line. They tell her they're celebrating because a new goddess, even more brilliant than her, has appeared, and they hold up the magnificent mirror. Amaterasu peers out, and she sees a goddess of blinding light. Her own reflection, of course, but she doesn't realize it. Fascinated, she leans out a little further to get a better look. And in that split second, the god of incredible strength, Tajikara-o, lunges forward, grabs her by the hand, and pulls her all the way out. Another god quickly seals the cave behind her so she can never retreat again. And just like that, light, warmth, and order flood back into the universe. So what becomes of Susanoo, the god who started all this? Well, the gods don't let him off easy. They cut his beard, they pull out his fingernails and toenails as a punishment, and they banish him, for good this time, from the heavens. He is cast down to the earthly realm, landing in the land of Izumo. His heavenly rampage is over, but his story? His story is just beginning. Almost as soon as he arrives on Earth, Susanoo stumbles upon a new kind of despair. He finds an old man and an old woman weeping by a river. They tell him of a horrifying monster, the Yamata-no-Orochi, a serpent with 8 heads and 8 tails, so vast its body covers 8 hills and 8 valleys. And every year, this beast comes and devours one of their daughters. They've already lost 7. Now they must sacrifice their last. And here, in the face of human suffering, Susanoo sees not a target for his rage, but a wrong that he can make right. This is a changed Susanoo. He is no longer just the god of the chaotic storm. Confronted by this true monster, he becomes something more. He channels his immense power not into destruction, but into a clever, heroic plan. He is about to transform from a wild god into a true hero. His strategy is brilliant. He instructs the family to brew 8 barrels of incredibly strong, refined sake. He then builds a fence with 8 gates and places a vat of the liquor at each one. When the great serpent arrives, it dips each of its 8 heads into the vats and greedily drinks the sake until it falls into a deep, drunken sleep. It is only then, when the monster's chaotic power is neutralized by his cunning, that Susanoo draws his 10-span sword and begins his work, slicing the enormous beast to pieces. As he's hacking through the serpent's massive body, his sword strikes something in the middle tail. It doesn't give way like flesh and bone. Clang! His blade chips. There's something hard, something powerful hidden inside the monster. Curious, he cuts the tail open and pulls out a magnificent divine sword, the Kusanagi no Tsurugi, the grass-cutting sword, and in that moment, he knows exactly what he must do. He takes this incredible treasure, this symbol of his victory over earthly chaos, and he presents it to his sister, Amaterasu, as a gift. It is his apology, his act of reconciliation, a way of saying that he is no longer the god who brought death into her halls, but a hero who can bring forth treasures. And this is the grand finale of the whole saga, the reason this myth is so important. Susanoo is fully redeemed. He becomes a great cultural hero, and his children and their descendants become the rulers of the earthly land of Izumo. And that very sword, the Kusanagi, it joins the mirror that lured Amaterasu from the cave and the jewels that adorned the sacred tree to become the 3 sacred treasures of Japan, the imperial regalia, the physical proof of the emperor's divine mandate to rule. And so we are left with this final, powerful question. The story seems to tell us that chaos isn't just an enemy to be stamped out. It's a fundamental force that has to be confronted, engaged with, and ultimately transformed into something productive. Maybe true, lasting order isn't about avoiding the storm. Maybe it's about having the wisdom and courage to face it, tame it, and find the treasure hidden deep within.